Welcome to the Jam Spot podcast. I'm Henry.
And I'm Phil.
And basically this is a podcast designed to speak to music industry professionals about the thrills and spills of their occupation and beyond. We'll be covering things like self-doubt. It can be things to do with funny stories, sad stories. It can be anything. And basically, yeah, that's what we're about.
All shared over a gin.
Over a gin, indeed, which I've finished.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, guys.
Bonjour.
Hello. We are here today with Katie Coleman.
Ching, ching.
Yes. How are you today, Katie? You all right?
I'm good. Now I've got a gin.
Yeah.
Should we do a
Yes,
cheers?
we are at the Gin Street today.
Let's.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wait,
We're
hang
going
on.
to reach over and do this.
Yeah.
Right, there we go.
Bank.
All right, there's no one. Try not to break any
Cheers.
glasses. There we go. Cheers. And this, I don't know what gin this is. Did they tell us?
A pink gin and tonic, I believe.
Perfect
I don't know
for me.
what kind of
I've got
pink.
little raspberries in it. It's nice, huh?
So just on the topic of gin, we should
Yes.
know where we are.
We are at the Gin Street in Oxted. So we have to thank Andrew and David for that. Really lovely establishment we're within.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And it's
fine.
beautiful, isn't it? Nice little place, this. Eh?
This is a
Bougie.
nice little spot.
Lovely
Nice
one.
little find.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, so as mentioned, we've got Katie Coleman here today. Now, I've known Katie for, nearly 9 years?
10 years. It'll be
Nearly
almost
10
10 years. If not longer, you know.
If not longer. Yeah. It's come up a while. But obviously, there will be people out there that don't know who you are. So I'm just going to list a few things of
Go
how
on,
I
Phil.
would describe you and what you do.
Okay.
So, number one, vocalist extraordinaire is the main thing I think of when I think of Katie. But she was also on the X Factor in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
She's a current contestant on The Voice UK. Is that right?
Yeah, The Voice UK. 2023, baby.
2023, that's where we are. She is the lead singer in the Alleycatz, which I have something to do with. We'll get into that later. Songwriter, you write your own songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're also a top liner for a few DJs. Yeah. What kind of stuff
Yeah, yeah, that's just, tickling the surface.
Yeah.
But no, I work with different DJs and I've worked with a lot of songwriters and co-writing along the years. So Leon Tarø was probably one of my most recent releases. Higher, go check that out. And then prior to that was Keenan Waters, another DJ. So they're predominantly the artist featuring Katie Coleman. And they might be like, here's the track, write to it. And then we'll do that. I worked with Alvin Anthony recently, although he's based in Miami, so he would be like Alvin Anthony.
Miami.
Yeah. So yeah, and then again working with just my friends, which is it feels like not work at all.
Yeah.
So obviously different writers and different producers like Marky, known as Beauty's Music. He's top writer, and obviously that's how we met, wasn't it, Phil? Just writing and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've known each other for roughly sort of 10 years. So I remember you came down from
Darlington.
I've never asked how you met.
Yeah, so
Never asked.
I feel like we've told you, surely, on a drunken stupor.
That's the thing, isn't it? I don't remember when I'm drunk. So.
there's a mutual friend of ours
Yeah.
who was managing you at the time.
Yes.
And he just kind of come to me and said, I've got a singer who's looking to do some gigs in London. Do you fancy doing some gigs as a guitarist? And I was, up for it.
Nice.
At which point we started doing some gigs in Camden,
Yeah.
Hawley Arms. I
Pretty
think
much
it was.
every single
I know
venue.
the Hawley Arms.
Yeah, the Hawley Arms, yeah.
Yeah, we had a little residency in there. And at the time, I think I was 19 or just turned 19. So I was like, oh my God, it's Amy Winehouse's Haunt. Do you know what I mean? So to
I
get
know what
that.
you mean, yeah.
And I suppose
we did the same.
that must have been was that quite a big thing for you, sort of coming down from Darlington at that sort of quite young age, really, just come down on your own, not really know anyone?
Yeah.
How was that?
I think since I was about 14 or 15, when I would come to London and visit with my parents, we would often just nip into like a live music venue. And because I was with my mum and dad at the time, they weren't so strict about my age and stuff. So I would just go into these venues and watch the musicians and love it. And then that was 14, 15, 16, 17. And I'd do that for years and then come down for gigs, come down for writing and production and stuff. So it was kind of like it was inevitable. It was going to happen. I was going to get down there just because as a northern girl, the city life.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's like, ew, living the London life. It's like, yeah, I just knew it was what I wanted, and I didn't think about it. I just went for it. And I think having the luxury, because it is a luxury, having the support of your parents, they were like, all right then, if you're going to do it, you might as well. Because I think I actually knew you when I was 18, Phil.
Yeah.
Because I remember having a drag queen at my 18th birthday party and telling you about it in the next week of the writing session.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God. So, yeah, it was a big move, a bit daunting, but it's just crazy how time flies, because hindsight, looking back, I realised that I was just unapologetically confident, I think, in just thinking, right, I'm here. I'm just going to go for it. Like, let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
You know, a broke young girl.
Moving to the big smoke.
Typical musician, you know, and I was just going to all the open mic nights and stuff like that.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like for you, was it, I imagine it was really daunting, but was it a case of, was there anxiety about that? Or was it more that you were like, what I'm trying to say is like, was it kind of like the music is taking me there, I need to go there, so I'm going to have to do it whether I like it or not, kind of thing?
Yeah, I think there was a bit of both, but there was an element of, this is where I've got to be, and you know, it's just the hub. It feels like the hub of music.
Yeah.
I know there's Manchester and there's other cities that are great, but I just was like, right, this is where the music's leading me. I've got to go for it. And thinking now, I do love that almost naivety, or not naivety, but you know what I mean? Just that confidence to just be saying, right, I'm going down there, and not worrying about what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, or whatever that when is. And yeah, there was a bit of anxiety, but I didn't realise it then. It was more just apprehension and nerves and just what is going to be out there for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the outside world, especially with like me mum and my parents and my friends from back home, they must have thought, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're 19 and just doing it on your own.
I think we've all had that, haven't we?
Yeah, but
advice against.
when you feel like you've got to go and make the move, or for anyone in whatever career you're doing or whatever space you want, you just feel like, if I've got to be in a certain place, you don't think about how you're going to do it. You just do it. Which I admire about that Katie then.
Do you think that the Katie Coleman of 18, 19 moving down here is a very different person to the Katie Coleman of now?
Oh, yeah. Henry was like, yeah, I like that question. I think I'm the same, but I think all the experiences slightly, they change you a little bit in terms of how you deal with things, and like knockbacks, and well, just going through personal things as well, relationships, family, loss and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like that kind of, not this being therapy, that kind of, I don't know what the word is, that naivety, that kind of excitement, that kind of like, I'm just gonna not give a shit and just go for it and be excited, does get a little bit tarnished, because the music industry, we were talking about this the other day actually, that it humbles you, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so sometimes that kind of buzz can go. So I definitely don't feel exactly the same. I feel the same Katie, but it's just molded things differently.
Yeah, I think that's,
if you know what I mean.
I mean, for me personally, I think that's quite a natural thing anyway, because when you jump into anything, especially music, like it seems such a grand kind of
show business.
Yeah, showbiz, you know,
exciting.
Traveling, you know, writing, recording. It sounds so glamorous.
Yeah.
But when you actually get into it and you start to realise, actually going into a recording studio
in a dingy,
little, you know,
studio somewhere.
Yeah, studio somewhere in North London or wherever it is. It's not quite the glam that you think it is going to be when you're like,
I've been in studios before where you got in there and you go out with like some kind of illness.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
I mean,
it's genuine.
And like you don't really.
Well, rehearsal studios are like that.
Oh yeah.
They're renowned for being like
names,
that.
But there's some where it's just awful, isn't it?
So I mean, I think there's an element to everyone that probably thinks this isn't quite what I thought it was, but I don't think those experiences necessarily make it a worse experience or career for you. it just kind of molds you a little bit, and it maybe tapers your expectations of
and your
things a little bit.
perspective on things changes.
Yeah.
So, for instance, like, what am I trying to say? Like going to a little rehearsal studio in the middle of nowhere in Camden, like in this tiny little, you would get excited about that then. And now it's like, okay, been and done that. And you're thinking, well, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And
is there an element of always chasing your tail? Like always trying to go for the next big thing?
I think there's always elements of that, even as musicians. Like you're like, well, who's the next person I can play bass for, or who's the next person I can get on a festival with? In the industry, gigging musicians, it's like that anyway.
Yeah.
But I would definitely hate to think that I hadn't changed. I mean, you change anyway, growing up personally,
evolve,
right? And also as you get older. Not that I'm that old, ew. But as you do get older and a little bit more wise to things, and just your experiences make you a bit more aware, naturally your how you take people in the industry changes, and you think, I can see right through you. Or I can see right through this opportunity, or I realise what I've got to do in this situation. Or like showing up to a gig and there's a load of depths on it, and it's the first time you've also sang at this venue and with these musicians, but
that's
it's
how
like,
we met.
That's how we met. But you've got to just go for it and think, right, I'm here. So
you took control.
You got to take control, and whatever, all that experience you've had since you're 18 or 17, 16 gigging, it's like, it leads you to that moment and you think, right, just got to go for it. The music industry is like that, isn't it?
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? It's like when you play all the smaller shows, especially when you're younger, and you have bad sound, you have things go wrong, because obviously smaller venues are harder to, whatever. But you go to a bigger stage and something goes wrong, but you can deal with it as a result. Do you find that? Yeah,
I think so. I think that comes with experience and time spent in the industry. That's like your homework, your groundwork.
It's like your apprenticeship, isn't it?
It's 100%. You have to be in this game for the long run.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It can be like this. It can go up and down. It's a roller coaster, because, one good opportunity might open another opportunity, but that might fall through. So it's a complete roller coaster. But I'm here, and we're here.
Yeah.
Surviving.
Just about.
I'll drink to that.
So talking about opportunities, obviously I mentioned before you was on the X Factor in 2015.
Yeah.
So I think, again, I've probably known you for about a year or so.
Well, I was 20.
21?
I was 21 when I did it, just turned 21.
And how was that? Because obviously that led to a few other bigger gigs, really, didn't it?
Yeah, I think at the time I decided to go on X Factor because there was what felt like a lull in my career, even though I was writing and working with people and going to different networking events, and I had management as well, and I was loving that, and that was all great, but it's still that young kind of like hopeful artist in you that thinks, oh my God, this is my opportunity. I might as well just go for it, because I feel like nothing else is happening, even though other things were happening, and I just went for it. And at the time, I was anxiety riddled. That was the first time that I really thought, this is shit scary. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast,
yeah, of course,
by the way?
Yeah,
what's the situation?
I mean, come on, we're on it. Be swearing at some point. I'm surprised I haven't dropped any bombs yet.
Sorry, kids. I was absolutely shit scared, and I didn't realise that until getting right on that stage and realise, okay, this is
Mind
it.
you, that is a nerve-wracking thing, especially knowing that the cameras are there.
Yeah.
You've got a live audience that are kind of expecting you to deliver something.
All your family are there, because it was also in Manchester Arena as well. This wasn't just like an in-room audition. It was like your first audition was... Yeah.
That's intense, huh?
It is intense.
Yeah.
And you got all the judges looking at you.
What's scarier, the arena or the judges?
Definitely the judges.
I'd say so.
Yeah, because I was doing gigs.
So.
Well, so on my actual first audition, I got very emotional because of just the reaction. But the actual X Factor experience, when you're in it, you're just going for it. You just keep on going for each round. You're just doing what you can to get through. But I realise now they treated us like cattle, really. That's how I felt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I got through to boot camp and then I got through to the 6 chairs. Ew. I don't know why I feel so cringy about it now, but it is what it is.
Own it.
And, right. Yeah, because it was just an experience. But at the time I thought, no, this is it. This is not just an experience or an opportunity. This is it. This is going to make me this and that. And, you know, it's just not how it works. So yeah, I got through to boot camp and I just felt like they treated you like cattle. There was a lot of, there wasn't a lot of care for the contestants, and there was a lot of exploitation. But you know, I don't regret it because I don't want to live my life with regrets. But there was definitely a lot of coercion and like fixing things, and you obviously had to get into groups at the boot camp, and I just happened to have the comedy act.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Or he was just there for the show. He was just there to kind of just be on TV. Yeah. And actually, he did what he set out to do, bless him. He's actually a funny guy, and you know, if I saw him today, I'd get on with him. I think should I name names?
Yeah.
Name drop all
Yeah,
you want.
No. Do you know Ryan Rutledge?
I can't say.
I can't say I remember. Sorry.
Well, I don't know. He was actually brilliant TV. It just so happened that he was in my group because I was I was the single girl, then he was the boy, and then there was an older category, and then there was the groups as well. So yeah, he was like slut dropping on the audition, and like all the focus was on that, and it was just so funny. But you know, looking back, he was great TV. But at that moment, I was like, this is my moment. Like, why are you ruining it? Like, why? Yeah. I was just so riddled with anxiety. I remember they'd give you a song as well to practice, and they wouldn't give you like an itinerary really for the day. It was kind of like, be ready for this time. And so I would go to the toilet and I'd text my mum, like, Mum, I can't do this. She's like, hang in there. And I'd just be like, no, I can't do it because I just, my heart's going to come out my chest. And at the time I didn't realise what that was, but I realised now it was just pure anxiety.
Was there as much awareness then? Do you think there was as much awareness? I know that it was probably on the cusp.
There was, but it wasn't, like there wasn't like a psychologist that I spoke to, or I didn't feel like there was a care, like an ACT team like there is on The Voice.
I was going to say, so how does that sort of compare to
currently?
Yeah, as we're filming, The Voice is currently on TV.
Yes.
So how does that compare, like the two experiences, how do they compare?
There's no comparison really, because one, I'm older now, like I'm older now. So my mindset is different and I see this opportunity as different, and it does cringe me out a little bit that I've been on the X Factor and now I'm doing The Voice, but it's different now. I have to see it more like as a complete platform.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that it used to have quite a stigma attached to it.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I was in the X Factor, I'm on The Voice.
And I still feel a bit of that though.
Yeah, I think because it's a manufactured show and that, you know, they're trying to mould you into what they want, there is that feeling of you're losing a little bit of your credibility or like your...
It's that right
you
there.
know, and I think that's maybe where the stigma comes from. But now I don't think it's as much of an issue because it's been around for so long now. You know, there's so many contestants have gone through it, and they've all probably got little bits from it here and there. You know, even like the comedies like you just spoke about, he would have gone and got.
Yeah, he won a Big Brother and did well, you know.
Well, there you go. So that's opened doors to I'm saying he maybe didn't start off.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. Like off the back of the X Factor, I ended up going on tour with James Arthur, which was quite cool.
That must have been amazing.
Yeah, that was quite cool. It was so it was just me and Jerome, our lovely Jerome, our friend, our keys player, and we just did acoustic set, and I just did like half an hour, 40 minutes. And then that was brilliant. We did the O2 academies and stuff. That was good fun.
Amazing.
And it's so funny now because like the musicians that were on his band then, like it's been like a full circle moment. I've done gigs with them now years later, and it's like, oh, hang on, I recognise. So it's funny how that works, but that was a really good opportunity. And then off the back of that, I had a music video out, and I worked with like a management and marketing team from Talyard, and so good things came from it. But the actual experience itself, I was like, oh my gosh, no.
So what made you want to do The Voice at this specific time? Why did you think, right, now's the time to do something like that? And how did it come about? Was you approached or?
So they do scout you. They do scout a lot of them because it's TV. They're making a TV program at the end of the day, so they do want to have good people. So I think over lockdown they asked me, and I said no, because lockdown was just like a really shit time for musicians anyway, and that was when like my mental health. But it was like, woo, took a bit of a decline. I was like, this is, how can I ever do music again? It's completely catastrophizing. But
No, but I felt the same.
Yeah, I think a lot of musicians probably thought, where do we go from here? You know?
100%. Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean, we can get into that, but that was the time when they asked me and I said no. So that was a long time ago. And then I'd kind of just had a lot of distractions after having gone on tour with James Arthur and then having the music video out and then doing gigs, and we set up the Alleycatz, we set up the function band and everything. And so I was doing that was kind of like my main priority. And then I was like focusing on other little things like samba, dancing, like friends, and just I feel like my focus got distracted, so I felt like I was in a bit of a like plateau for a while. And well, as you know, and then something happened where my friend, my best friend, was like, listen, I'm going to come to London. I need a change. We're going to move in together. So I had the best time of my life with George. And he was a drag queen and famous, and that's a whole other thing. But he was like, would you not think about doing the show at The Voice or something like that? You come on, sis, you ain't got nothing to lose, you know. He was like, bitch, you haven't had a track out in ages, you're just working with these DJs. And I'm like, rude. But then they approached me, and funny enough, the guy that approached me was on X Factor the same year that I was.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Or something like that. And then he was like, just see how it goes, just hear them out. And because I was just scarred, I think, from my X Factor experience in 2015, I was like, no, it's not for me. Like, I'm doing bigger gigs, got better connections. I felt like I didn't need it. But then I was like, well, that's just my ego talking, because what have I really got to lose? And I've got more to gain than anything, especially when people know that it's not really like, it's not so taboo anymore. So yeah, they scouted me and they were really thorough about everything and really just making sure that I was on board with everything.
That's good.
And then, so I said, bugger it, I'm going to do it. I did a couple of Zoom meetings with them, which was really weird. And this is like over a year ago.
Yeah, and things were all over Zoom and stuff out of the computer. And
this was over a year ago, and it was in the summer. I remember it being really hot because I remember having a joke with the producer that I've got a fan right in my face. And I just sang a cappella to them. They loved it. They said, do you want to go for it? I said, yeah.
All right, so you did like a bit of an audition on
so
online.
It was basically like, we like you, let's have a chat, pick a song. It's super informal, it's really casual, and it really was. It was with the producer, I think, or it was just like people before like the deciding factor, we want her on the show. So I'd done like 2 of those, super chill, super casual, and they were like, right, the next thing is actually come into office and see you and have a sing song, and it's going to be filmed but only for us to watch back. And then that was it. My life just, I was in turmoil because I said, I'm not doing this, because my friend died. He passed away. And obviously we were living together, and that is a whole debacle. I'm still emotionally dealing with that. But that was when I just said, no, I'm not doing this. I don't need to do this, because it was just the straw that brought the camels back for me. Especially with everything that was happening before, well, not happening, I felt like, with music. And then that happened, and I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, this is just not what I need. And which sounds crazy. And I just didn't even think about it. But the producer was really lovely, and she just said, Katie, she called me on a private phone, on a personal phone. She's like, Katie, I can't believe what you're going through. I know what it must be like. And we'll get back to you in a month. Do what you need to do. And I said, okay, whatever. But I just thought, I'm not going to do it. And then I was going through a lot, the grief like that I'd never dealt with. I completely didn't want to listen to music. I didn't want to sing. I didn't know how I could sing, let alone do something like The Voice, where you're on shore to millions of people dealing with this, and you have to be on shore.
Of course you do, yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, yeah, and then they got back to me after a little while, and they said, look, why don't you take it round by round? You don't have to come into the offices. We want you on the show. And I was like, what? So you mean I just go straight to a blind audition? They were like, yep. Just because we want you, but we obviously know it's a really tough time at the moment. And so, yeah, I filmed The Voice while going through all that shit, basically.
That must
and
have been
it's
so hard.
the hardest thing I've had to deal with.
Yeah,
anyway, it's a lot.
It is a lot. But yeah, it's. I mean, we've spoken about this before. Me and you being a performer, especially a front woman or front man, a singer, where you're fronting a band or you're trying to sell yourself. You do kind of have to be two people, because to the public and people that are coming to see you, they just expect a show and like smiles and
doesn't matter what you've got going on.
Doesn't matter, you know. And in your personal life, you maybe don't want to be like that at all.
No.
So it does become a very difficult balance of who am I today? I imagine that's quite a conflicting thing within yourself to go to a gig and be like, I've got to be pumped up for this, knowing that you've got all this stuff going on in the background, but nobody would ever know.
Yeah, and that is a musician. That's why I feel like creatives and musicians, we do struggle a lot internally and don't really speak about it that much, because we all are on shore. Like, you know, you got two kids at home and they're ill and your wife's ill, but you've got to go do a gig tonight and it's with a big artist and you've got to be on no matter what. But it's exactly the same. Every gig that we do, I'm putting on. And I do think there is a massive part of that, though, in the showbiz world and music industry. You have to put on that brave face. And that's exactly what I did with The Voice. And that's exactly what I do anyway. I do think there is a certain persona that I have when I'm on stage. But I don't know if it's like a Sasha Fierce, but I do think it's like an elevated it's like Katie Coleman, the star, the singer,
like
I just else? Like, do you know what I mean? Look, the shoulders go, and I just turn it on.
You find something within yourself, right? Like an exaggerated part of yourself.
Yeah, it's not that I'm different. That is who I am. It's just a proper exaggerated. Part
that makes sense. That makes complete sense. Yeah.
And do you find you've kind of developed that more since obviously we started the Alleycatz band? Maybe 7 years ago, something like that.
Is it that long? Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Apparently.
But yeah, do you find that's kind of come out more in you since we've been doing that? Because obviously it's a wedding function band, you know, and we started off quite small, you know, just like a lot of other bands do.
Yeah. And
then gradually over the years we've really ramped up and we've started doing some really high profile gigs and stuff like that.
Name and Phil.
Name drop.
Go on.
So we've played for people like Microsoft, Heineken, Peugeot, Volkswagen, Amex, Ted Baker. You know, we've done industry resale awards. You know, lots of different things, and it's been great. You know, I've been abroad. You know, it's been a lot.
Name the countries, Phil. Name the countries.
No, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully there'll be more of that. But yeah, do you find that side of the showman in you has come out more since doing that?
Definitely.
Or do you feel like...
I definitely think that has been more prominent over the years. It's naturally come out like that because I realised that in the beginning I was still feeling like the artist doing a gig, like I would want to do original stuff. But I realised that 9 times out of 10 when you're doing these weddings and functions, they don't care who you are and what you've done and what you're working on and what song you're writing and when your new track's coming out. They just have booked you for their wedding and they want a show. They want entertainer.
Of course.
And there's a difference, isn't there, being like an artist and an entertainer?
Yeah, I think there is.
What do you...
Yeah, 100%. I think even... I know this it's a different perspective for me. So like when I'm doing a session for someone, there's a certain way you sort of tend to act. When you're involved in a band or like some kind of ensemble of some sort, you have a different approach. You're more outlandish.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That's sort of, I guess that's more the entertainer side. But for a session, it's a different thing because you're in the background. It's all about them at the front. You're just playing your parts, right?
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's a similar thing. And with the wedding bands, it tends to be just like have a load of fun.
We're entertaining, and so exactly it has definitely come out more. So I think you said this the other day. You've definitely come on in terms of that, but just because it just comes with experience as well. I'd say the first year or two, you're just knowing the ropes. You're just getting to know what the function world is like when you first get into it.
It's a bit scary at first, isn't it?
It's a whole different ball game than.
Takes a while.
Yeah. But I realised that that is. Being a gigging musician, that's just life, isn't it? You have your artist stuff there, and you have your gig life there, and your band there. Yeah. So it has come out massively the last few years to the point where I'm like, ugh, I cringe myself out sometimes. But the audience might love it.
Does it help you with your own stuff though when you're doing artist stuff?
I definitely think it's helped me in terms of my performance. Yeah. Even though I've always been like a performer at heart, and my vocal ability is probably it just gets better and better because the more you do it, the more you use it, the better. And it's like almost practice for big arenas.
Yeah.
Putting it out there.
Yeah. Bookings available.
Yeah.
What are some of your sort of more standout memories or, things that you've done at gigs or gigs that you've done that have kind of really stood out to you for either good or bad reasons?
I was going to say, the ones that are coming to me are bad reasons.
Yeah, it's weird,
to be
isn't
fair,
it?
I like doing the weddings, but the corporates is a different ballgame. It's because you've got a bigger venue, a massive audience, a different clientele. Yeah. They look after you a little bit more as well.
Yeah. Some of the food. Sorry.
Do you know what I mean? No.
That's all I'm thinking about.
No, but isn't it true? So the one we did recently, actually, that's probably most prominent. Yeah. At the monastery. I mean, what a venue that was!
Amazing, huh?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
And that was for Heineken, and they teamed up with a charity, and that was
the Marmalade
stuff like that.
Marmalade Trust.
Stuff like that is what stands out. But to be honest, it's more like the gigs that don't go to plan.
Yeah, and we've had a few of those.
Yeah. Interesting PA systems
also,
brings to mind, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So it can be like the little things. So I remember the first little thing that really, there's loads of little things, but I remember doing a wedding or doing at a stage, and my dress got caught on Phil's guitar.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I'm stuck. Yeah. Or
that's happened a few times with your hair and stuff.
Yeah.
Guitar's just stuck on Katie's head. There's always
gonna get out of this. There's always mishaps. Or you've got lipstick on your teeth or on your chin the whole gig and someone hasn't told you. Rude.
Yeah.
Or my boobs falling out at gigs.
Has that happened?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But you know what? When I'm in that moment, I'm just like, whatever. You style it out.
You don't care, do you? Yeah.
No,
I've full on fallen off stage before, and it just doesn't bother me. When you're there, it's fine. Afterwards, you think, Jesus, that happened.
Exactly.
But you know what I mean?
I've definitely tripped.
I remember posing for a photo once and falling straight off the end of the stage. I just got up and took a bow and carried on.
Did like Dave Grohl break your leg and just get back on stage on the chair?
That's to be fair, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's pretty epic. Pretty rock and roll.
You've got to style it out. And,
yeah.
But and then what other ones have been? Well, there's a few. There's always a few. Bridezilla. Oh God, it's terrible of me talking like this. But if someone is
difficult.
A little bit more difficult. Yeah, a little bit more difficult, and or you've done 4 hours and they just we'll do another hour. It's it's not as easy as that. Or when you've got a dep. So for people that don't know, a deputy, a stand-in, and they don't turn up say till the second set, or that because that's happened before.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know any of the tunes.
I still don't know any of the tunes. I still learn the tunes like before. No, I don't really. I practice them and rehearse them. Bookers now.
Yeah, the depth thing is quite an interesting gig in itself, isn't it? Because turning up as a dep, it's very hard actually, and especially when you're.
It was scary at first.
Especially when you're joining sort of quite a tight knit band, like we are.
Yeah.
Obviously, most of our members we've used all along.
Yeah.
So as we're more friends than sort of first than musicians after.
Yeah.
Which is actually what I enjoy about us gigging is it's just hanging out. Like it's not even necessarily the playing. For me, the playing is secondary. It's the hanging out in between. But that's why when you are a Dep or Deps that have joined us, it must be quite difficult.
Yeah, because it's more prominent.
I remember.
Yeah,
I'm
on telly.
Was it Carousel
us,
when I joined you? Carousel in London?
Oh, was it?
I think so. Yeah. It was it Carousel or was it somewhere else? I remember there being a really nice Merc parked outside. That's all I remember.
A lot of the gigs do
Really
roll into one when you do that many.
Yeah. But I remember getting there and we were all Deps. And that's what we were saying earlier, is that it was, you had to take control. And I remember the first song, as I do, I like to get a bit leery. And, playing a little bit. Right. And you looked at me and you're like, solo. And I was just like, here we go.
On the spot.
I'm going to enjoy this one.
It must have been Le Free, because it must have been.
It was.
Boom, 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 boom. Okay.
I was loving it. It was great. I was like, I'm gonna enjoy this.
Okay, well that's good to know. That's good to know that I can do that.
It was good fun.
No, I do think that there's so many things that go wrong, and it only help in the function and wedding world and just in general like corporate stuff. There's so many things that go wrong with the gigs, and the audience will never know, because that's how you've got to be professional. Yeah. But that has helped me. So when I'm doing my artist stuff, and getting back into that properly, it's everything else is a water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I find it too. Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things, isn't it, that, like you say, the more experience you get, the easier it gets. But also, you end up doing shows which might be like a big festival or something. It might be a huge show, and you find yourself going, it's fine. It's actually a lot easier because there's a team there doing sound. There's all this and that. Not Phil does sound usually, and he's great. But sorry, Phil. No, but you know what I mean. Like there's a whole team like looking after your monitor mix. There's all this kind of going on, and you find yourself going, it's all right. It's like a day
that
off.
should be industry standard, shouldn't it?
It should.
Yeah.
It should.
But when you've got clowns like me doing your sound. So, Okay, so obviously we're talking about sound and stuff and weddings.
Gigs and shit, yeah.
How does it feel being the only female in the band?
Ooh, good question. I love it. Sausage fest. No, I'm joking.
Cocktail sausage fish.
I'm not joking.
Speak for yourself.
Sorry. The gin's going to my head.
But this is it. This is like the banter. Do you know what I mean? To be fair, I'm just used to it now.
Yeah.
I've definitely got used to it.
We brought you down to our level.
Or maybe I brought you down to mine.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh,
could be.
I
wouldn't be surprised.
Highbrow until you.
Yeah, I was actually.
Highbrow.
What, mate? I was well eyebrow.
No, I'm used to it now, I think. But I've used to been. I'm used to being around fellas in the music industry. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? But no, I'm used to it because obviously it's quite male dominated, unfortunately, this industry. And I feel like, you just get used to it. So like if I'm changing...
I was going to say, because people that are in wedding bands or bands in general...
A lot of people won't know this either.
Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it?
You do get quite intimate of ech other without really being able to help it.
Quite quickly.
Because well, I mean, when you turn up at a wedding and you're setting up and stuff, 9 times out of 10 you arrive in your normal clothes. Yeah. And you have your suit or you have your dress or whatever
in the suitcase,
ready to go whenever
you're ready. Suitcase.
Yeah, the singer suitcase, of which you've always had an impressive suitcase.
Yes, and say actually, yeah.
I never really know what's in it. But
can we get to this? What do you have in your suitcase then for your wedding?
Like a pack that I filled. I feel like every singer has a suitcase because they have their own things in their suitcase. I always prepare, say, first of all, at these weddings, you might not know what the vibe is. So they might be quite well to do and quite posh. Yeah. So you might just want to go for something more simple, not simple, but like you might want to fit the vibe of the wedding. A
bit more elegant.
And this is what you lot don't understand. It's like if I'm coming out in glitz and tacky sequins, no offense to people that love sequins because I do love a sequin, but if it's not the vibe, it's not the vibe. So 2 dresses.
Okay, yeah.
2 pairs of shoes, because if a heel breaks and I'm performing for 2 hours with trainers on in my dress, I mean, Lily Allen vibes, it's cool, but no.
It's been done.
Yeah, okay. Spanx or like something to suck you in, because I tell you what, there's nothing better than having something to suck you in when you're singing. Supports your diaphragm. It's true.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And also you need something to hook on the, if you got a wireless
Yeah,
pack,
your wireless pack. Yeah,
you need something to hook
Oh, that's
on.
a good idea.
Of
yeah.
which we've all had to do many times to you.
Yeah, of
just
which-
before we go on, you just put this on my... Yeah.
On my
yeah,
arse.
That's it. Yeah, next thing, the arse comes out. Bosh.
Yeah, because like I might be wearing a dress. It's true. I might be wearing a dress.
Such a beautiful way of putting it.
Well, yeah.
Bosh.
Yeah, I might not wear a bra. It might be, 9 times out of 10 I'd wear a dress that you don't need to wear a bra with, and you
Okay.
can't see it. But all these little things that the normal guy working in an office wouldn't have to
It's
know.
mad, isn't it?
But you
Yeah.
lot know, because it's like it's part of the job. We've got
Well,
5
with
minutes
us,
to go on.
even with us though, like it's like if it's a smart place, we wear a suit. If it's a
Smart
vaguely casual, we wear a suit. If
See what I mean? It's fine
if
for
it's
you.
casual, we wear a suit. Like there's no like.
There might be a tie or a,
Yeah.
tucked vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 2 pairs of shoes, there's maybe a dress or 2. There's hairspray, tit tape. So like clothes.
What's that?
Come on, Henny G, like clothing tape. So it's like double-sided tape to stick on your clothes.
Oh, okay.
It's typical performing stuff for girls, and so it like holds you in place.
Oh, I see. I see. I
You
get
might
you.
need that.
Which is obviously why you obviously didn't have any, that gig where your boob did fall out.
Boobs. Yeah, when
Oh,
my
your
boobs.
boob. Oh, two.
Plural.
Okay.
Yeah, when my boobs fell out,
So
I
I've been
didn't.
told that 1 boob is classy, 2 boobs is...
Well, that's like what's it?
Trashy.
Was it Richard and Judy or something? Her boob fell out on TV or something.
Yeah.
Showbiz.
That was
Yeah,
classy,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
It was 1 boob.
Yeah, 1 boob. Class.
That's all you need. That's all you need, 1 boob. Yeah, no, honestly, it's just show business, isn't it? It's just like, it's tricks of the trade. And then what else do I have in it? A load of safety pins, maybe a belt if I didn't bring me Spanx and I forgot and I need something to hook on to, the in-ears.
Also, for those who don't know what in-ears are, we already explained that yet?
IEMs, in-ear monitors. Yeah,
so they're
just
like
you
little
can hear
pack
stuff.
that hooks onto your belt.
Yeah.
And then you have like your earphones coming out of it. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you can hear what's going on basically.
Yeah, and then maybe some spare knickers.
For any accidents, yeah.
Yeah, probably fake tan because the lights wash you out sometimes. And more recently, which I know you two have seen, is my glittery puff. You know my glittery puff?
Yeah, you're constantly trying to buff my head with that glittery puff.
I'm going to...
Henry's looking at me like, what are you talking about?
You know I have like a little cylinder and it's a pink glittery puff. It's glitter and you dab the puff.
Oh, and you put it on your face?
It's body for your glitter, so
Oh,
your legs
really?
sparkly or yeah.
Oh, I'll have to use that next time.
I'd try to put it on Phil's head. In fact, I have done it on. So
That'd be like a glitter ball,
Christmas is
wouldn't it?
coming, it's fine.
Christmas is coming.
yeah, I can pop it on your beard.
Yeah.
But to be
good
fair,
voice,
all
that.
these little things that I've learnt along the way. They've
Yeah.
they've come from mishaps or my
Yeah.
gosh, I need to tape my clothes to my body because my boob's gonna fall out.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
oh no, I've got nothing. I'm not wearing a bra with this dress or typical. It's things that have happened,
Yeah.
mishaps, and I've learnt from. So now I'm like, okay.
So one of the things I've learned is always to take a spare pair of black socks.
Oh yes, Henry, you need to. Yeah,
I don't know
you
if
haven't
you
heard
hear
of
it,
the
but
story.
Is that
we-
a thing?
Yeah, so we were doing a gig and the time came to get changed. Obviously, I had my just general clothes on, like
I hope so, yeah.
White Vans.
white Vans, like jeans, t-shirt, this, that, and that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's come to I'm getting changed. I've looked in my bag. I've only got 1 shoe. So I'm thinking, where's my other shoe gone? And I'm kind of thinking, like, can I just pull off like the Justin Timberlake look, suit, white trainers? I popped them on. I just looked ridiculous. I did not pull it off at all. And everyone's
Yeah.
look at me like, you haven't finished getting ready. So I was like, oh God, what do I do?
Doctor Who style.
Yeah, so I was rushing around my bag thinking, I know what we used to do back in the day to get into nightclubs when they said no trainers.
Oh, is that where it came from, Phil?
Yeah. There's
Naughty
experience
boy.
in this.
Classy.
So you'd get a pair of black socks,
Put them over the trainers.
put them over the trainers,
Yeah.
Clever bugger.
which is what I did. So obviously I did that. And I think it
It did the trick. I didn't notice because I didn't
It just
know.
looked like I had
Black
like
shoes
weird
on.
suede boots on.
I've never thought of doing that.
Well, yeah,
I
there you
love
go,
the way
mate.
you say
There's-
weird suede boots, and that's exactly what I wear at these gigs.
Well, mate,
'cause
you
Oh, yeah,
always-
you do.
I've always got white socks on, so I'm like, I can't be asked.
Well, there you go, mate. If you carry
black socks, they've
a pair
always
of
got
black
holes in.
black socks in your bag.
Surely you have to go a few sizes up if they're going over your shoes.
Nope. Don't think so.
No, I didn't. It worked. They're quite stretchy.
Okay.
So
Mine have all got holes.
So
in
yeah,
them.
that's a tip for anyone out there.
There you go, you heard it here first.
Just
Yeah.
pop your black socks over your white trainers.
Or
And that
just-
goes to any industry.
or just
you know,
have a checklist.
office job.
Right. Not just
Not
music.
just music. Yeah, it's just any.
What you imagine walking through the office with socks over your trainers?
But nobody really looks. You find out nobody really looks at
But
your
they do
shoes.
when you're on stage. That's the type of.
Yeah, that's the time
But
they,
if you
they do
rocked
look.
it, then they wouldn't say anything. But yeah, there's nothing worse than like everyone's rocked up and you haven't got the right thing.
Oh, it's the worst feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
when you turn up and you've forgotten a lead or something.
Right, but if
Like,
anyone
I
can
know
get
that
away
it's-
with something,
You know.
anyone can get away with something like that. It's definitely musicians. I think.
But this is also why, for people that aren't musicians, this is why most bands tend to wear black.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of an
Easy.
appropriate colour for most
Well,
situations.
hello.
Hence,
Look
you
to
can't
do.
get away from it.
Yeah, innit? Yeah. Like most of my life, I've been in black.
Yeah, and exactly. And I think
So
it's
I'm constantly
definitely
in mourning.
it's like a
Right.
definite musician thing. I think because you're just
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
used to
it's
wearing
easy.
black as a backing band.
Session
Yeah.
blacks. Yep.
Yeah, so
Session
if you haven't
black.
got a white shirt, you can wear a black t-shirt under a jacket, or you make it work
Yeah.
somehow. But that's
Yeah.
again,
That's
little,
the vibe.
little
Who's the
inside
stylish?
knowledge.
That's my
Who do you
thing.
reckon is most stylish on? Obviously you, but who's the most stylish out of the guys on
the
the Alleycatz
Alleycatz?
gig? I'd say probably Josh, innit?
Josh, I'd say
He's
man
got
like
style.
Jerome.
Jerome's got style as well.
pretty
actually.
Josh has got his preppy
Yeah.
Farnham style. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love you, Josh. Shout out to Josh.
Shout out to Josh.
Josh is our drummer.
Josh Cop drums.
Also Josh Capdining. No one's doing a shout out already.
I know, right?
I'm just a guest. I
We
shouldn't be
got-
shouting people
we
out.
got to shout Jerome
But yeah,
then.
I think
Jay
Jerome,
Keys.
yeah, Jay Keys, yeah, everyone else. I think Jerome's got that kind of like looks. He
Yeah,
loves his
he's
bow
suave.
tie.
He's suave as fuck. innit?
But yeah, as a function band, it's really hard to figure out your attire and your look because you don't want to be coming across as cliche or like tacky or that's really difficult. Like the whole sequined thing and everyone in tux is unless it's clean and smart,
Yeah.
that looks good. But when it's a bit like, oh,
We ended up speaking so much in this episode that we decided to break it into two. So if you'd like to listen to the second part of this episode, please click the link in the description below or press play on part 2 on your streaming platform.